Okay, trying the camera from a little bit of a different angle today. Just actually set it up to be on the ground instead of on the table. I think it's a little bit better. You guys can let me know though. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a little bit of a better setup for the introduction of the videos. But it's pretty late at the minute. It is 9:30 at night on Wednesday. About to get my arm session in for the week, or first of the 2 arm sessions, or no, arm session, yeah, only one is, yeah, because I changed the split, didn't I? Because I'm not doing 7 days a week anymore, I'm doing 6 days a week. There's technically only one arm session, and then I split my second lot of arm training of the week over the push and the pull session later in the week. So yeah, about to get my arm session for the week done. But today did not turn out anything like I expected it to turn out. It kind of went completely, I suppose, completely against the grain. Like, or trying to think of the right term. I can't really think of it right now. My brain's that fried. Essentially though, I had a plan for the day, and the day unfolded the exact opposite to how I expected it to unfold. But it was still relatively productive nonetheless. It's just the time at which I started the day, like I slept in a little bit, so it was a bit of a delayed start for the day. And then on top of that, the actual order in which I did everything today was a little bit topsy-turvy. It was a bit backwards, essentially. But nevertheless, I've pretty much got it all done now. The only 3 things remaining on to-do list for the day are do this training session, start editing this video, and what was the other thing? There was one other thing. Nah, I'll have to check my to-do list, but there's 3 things left on my to-do list, 2 of which will be boxed off shortly after getting this training session done, because one of them obviously involves starting the editing process for this video. Oh, that's right, I've got to edit and upload yesterday's session. That was the 3rd thing on my to-do list. So yeah, they're the 3 remaining tasks on my list for the day. I've boxed everything else off, which is good, but the order in which I boxed it off was just a little bit backwards. Pretty sure I just repeated myself, but whatever. So yeah, arm session today, same as the usual Wednesday arm session, starting with triceps, going into biceps after that. And I do miss training forearms, to be honest, because I was never a forearm training kind of guy. Like, I never trained them in the past. But ever since I retired from powerlifting and stopped doing deadlifts, heavy deadlifts, which were really, I suppose, the bread and butter to the reason why my forearms actually developed in the first place, that, and then also genetics and working construction back in the day when I was in my early 20s. Because I don't do any of that stuff anymore, I'm worried that they'll atrophy. So a little bit of it's just paranoia driven, and a little bit of it's, I suppose, logic driven, rationale driven. I mean, if you stop doing something, if you don't use it, you lose it, as I say. I'm inclined to kind of throw in a little bit of direct forearm work at the end, but we'll see how things go. Calf wise, undecided whether I'll be doing some calf work today. Calves feeling a bit sore, I might give them some rest. But definitely considering forearm training. If I do, it'll just be some wrist curls and some reverse curls. Just 2 sets of each or 3 sets of each. So 4 to 6 working sets, nothing crazy or substantial it's going to cause any real fatigue. And yeah, that'll be it. So I'll get in there, guys. I'll see you guys in the gym. So it looks like I will be doing a little bit of calf training today. Not necessarily because I really want to, or that my calves aren't feeling sore. They are feeling a little bit sore, like I kind of said before, but the cable station, the set of cables that I like to use for my first 2 exercises for triceps is currently taken, so I'm just going to burn a bit of time, do a few sets on this, spam this for a while, and hopefully it's free by the time I'm done. One can only hope, at least. It may not, and if it isn't, I might just have to improvise, but I just want to try stay consistent with the cables that I'm using, so I'll do this in the meantime, and hopefully that ties me over until it's free. Let's put the seat back a couple notches. All right. It's one too far back as usual. Always setting a little bit too far back. There we go. Because when you're doing calves, you really want to maintain as much of a stretch on the calves as possible. And if you have the seat set too far back that you're in a full stretch, you're really going to get a diminished return on investment for your time spent on calf raises. Oh. 18 reps, not bad. Not bad at all. But I'll quickly record that. It's one thing, guys, make sure that you record your training. Even if, say, for example, you work with a coach who doesn't get you to track your training, track it for yourself. Because I do know, after speaking to more and more coaches over the last 6 to 7 months, that there are a lot of coaches out there who don't even bother writing training programs for their clients. They just handle their nutrition, which I don't think is the best approach. I think you really do need to be handling both elements or both components to really effectively get the most for someone, get someone the best results. But yeah, to each their own. I'm not going to shit on someone's methods. I mean, at the end of the day, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and if a coach gets results, that's what matters at the end of the day. But I do think it's important and vital to track your training, track your own progress, even if your coach doesn't want you to track it, or even if he doesn't get you to track it, or even if he doesn't want to see it. Do it for your own peace of mind, because it's a very useful piece of data to have. But that's my ranting aside. I'll quickly record this. It's 245 pound for 18. And I know I've done more like weight for a similar number of reps than this before, but that wasn't on this training session. You got to keep in mind, whenever you're comparing your performance in your training, you need to compare it from a specific session to that same session the following week. It can't be from a specific session to a different session the following week. Like if you hit everything twice a week, and say you hit a PB on flyers for your chest on your first chest session or push session of the week, you can't compare that to your performance next week in your second push session. You can only compare it to next week in your first push session, because you're comparing apples with apples, not apples with oranges. So say Monday and Friday you say you do your push sessions, just for example. Say Monday this week you hit a PB. The next week you don't compare your Monday PB or your Monday's performance to your Friday's session the following week. You compare it to the Monday session the following week. It might seem like common sense, but you'd be surprised at how many people slip up and don't realise that. I thought it was worth mentioning. Do the second set now and see how things are going then. See if the cables are free. 18 again. Nice. Now, one thing I also want to mention, the specific reason why I really like the horizontal calf press, this machine, or the calf extension, as Life Fitness like to call it. Depending on the brand of equipment, they can call it different things, but it looks the same regardless which brand of equipment you're using. But yeah, this specific kind of a calf raise variation, where you're seated, where your hip is creased, your hip's in flexion, and your knees are in extension. I find it mimics a donkey calf raise. And I can really focus on just prioritizing the calves in this. I don't have to think about, like for example, when I'm in a standing calf raise, trying to keep my hips under my shoulders, that sort of thing. There's less thought directed to other variables in the movement. And so I can hone in more and focus in more on just the loaded dorsiflexion, plantar flexion that's occurring at my ankle joint. So that's why I really do like this piece of equipment. And it's also convenient. You get to sit down. I mean, who doesn't like sitting down? Let's be honest, we're all lazy at heart. But yeah, I'll do one more set of these, and then we'll be on to the first tricep exercise, hopefully. I think the cables will be free then. I'm not even going to edit this. I'll just upload this whole clip as it is. Won't bother editing it or clipping it into separate sets or anything like that. Holy shit. What the fuck was that? Two less reps on that set. I only got 16, but it's still decent. Tell you what, I'm a little bit tired, but the show must go on. You still got to get the shit done, even if you're feeling tired. If you're feeling absolutely destroyed, obviously, maybe have a day off, but if you're just feeling a little bit tired, don't be a bitch. Turn up, get your training done. Even if it's leg day. Even if this was leg day and it wasn't arm day, if I was just feeling a little bit tired, I'd still nut the fuck up and get to the gym and do the job. If you don't do the job, someone else is. In a lot of other exciting things, I actually just ordered another podcast mic today. And by another podcast mic, I mean I own one that's back in Australia. I forgot to pack it. And I really need one because I've got the most archaic quality audio on the Anabolic Bodybuilding podcast each weekend. Kind of like the black sheep of the group. I really need to step my game up in terms of audio quality. So instead of trying to attach this to my computer all the time, or use my AirPods, which I've been doing the last few episodes because I've just been too lazy to charge this again, I've decided to buy a Rode podcast microphone and a boom arm. So once that arrives, hopefully in the next day or so, I paid for express shipping. That'll yield better quality audio from my part in the podcast. And then also whenever I do any future podcast episodes with Kurt, because Kurt and I do an episode weekly now. We missed last week's just for a bit of a clash of schedules. That's the only reason, but usually on a regular basis, Kurt and I will do one podcast a week. So in order to just improve the quality so you guys can actually not grit your teeth and gouge your eyes out while you listen to my terrible audio, you'll be able to hear me clearer, and it'll be a little bit more, I suppose, appealing to want to continue listening to the podcast if the audio is not complete trash. So yeah, I ordered that. Should arrive in the next day or so, like I said. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It can be used like and attached to like a soundboard or like a full-on podcast setup, or it's also got the option to attach it via USB-C cable to my computer or to my iPhone. So that'll be handy because I've got a couple of podcasts lined up too in the near future with a few friends of mine. One of them being Tanner over in the States. If you're a young guy who uses TikTok, you probably know who he is. So I'll be doing a podcast with him soon. And yeah, a few others in the works. So yeah, I thought I'd just step my game up, pull my finger out and improve the quality of the audio. But the cables look like they're free now, so I'm going to jump over there before somebody else steals it. So do a warm-up set, and then 3 sets, I believe, yeah. So 1 warm-up set, 3 working sets. And if I look smaller than usual, it's because I'm wearing one of my biggest shirts that I own. I think this one's like 7XL. And it's not like a 7XL entire. I got this in Australia. So yeah, that's why it looks so baggy. Normally I wear, I think, just like a 4 or 5XL. Better double check what weight I was using last week. I can't remember. It was, oh yeah, plate number 10. How many reps did I get? Oh shit, okay. I better go heavy this week. I'll go plate number 12 because I hit 20 reps last week. It's a little bit too high. Like, there's nothing wrong with 20 reps. Like, you're still gonna induce muscle growth doing 20 rep sets. Like, we've got literature to support the fact that anything between, say, 5 and 25 or 5 and 30 reps will elicit a hypertrophic response. But the disadvantage of either end of the spectrum, like the disadvantage of very low reps, say 5 to 10, it's a high risk of injury. And the disadvantage of the higher end of the rep range, say 12 to 20 or 15 to 30 or whatever, is that you're going to induce a lot more systemic fatigue, or you're going to induce it at a faster rate. So you're probably going to have to deload quicker, more frequently if you're doing super high rep sets on everything. So yeah, there's a time and a place for it. But because I've hit the upper echelon of the rep range, or the upper threshold, I want to increase the load so I can work my way back up. Probably had 1 or 2 more reps, but should probably leave it in the tank till I get to at least the 2nd or 3rd set, because it is my first time using this weight on this exercise. I don't know what the drop-off rate is going to be like. So like, I mean, if I was familiar with how this weight felt, if I'd done this weight in a previous week, I'd have a good gauge as to like what my drop-off rate was like after I pushed, say, to failure or close to failure on a single set. But this is uncharted territory, doing this movement with this amount of load. So I'll play it safe for the first set. Yeah. Decided to turn the exposure down a little bit on this set, see if it's any better. By better, I mean not as washed out. Because I've noticed that when I watch the footage back of these sessions, sometimes the whites are like too white in the footage, if that makes sense. Like they just seem too vibrant or like overly exposed. Just turning the exposure down a little bit, hopefully help fix that a little bit. But I'll just quickly log my sets. I forgot to finish logging the calf work before, and first set of these are at 15. So 2 more sets of these, then overhead extensions, kickbacks, and then on the biceps. Maybe forearms, depending on how we're going for time and how I'm feeling. It's already 9:51. Gym closes in about an hour, which should be more than sufficient, more than ample time, I mean. Just comes down to whether I feel like it or not. Yeah. Am I in frame? Barely. Yeah, that'll be alright. So yeah, tonight I actually really wasn't feeling the gym. I didn't really feel like coming. And if I'm to be completely honest with you guys, I almost didn't come. Which is weird. You think like on all the possible days of the week, why would you not look forward to the gym on an arm day? It's like one of the easiest sessions to do. It's fun. And yeah, sure it is, but I just really didn't fucking feel like it. But I still turned up. I'm here. I'm getting the job done. I think that speaks volumes for whether you're going to get results that you want or not. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel. Like, your goals, your results don't give a shit about your feelings. You need to decide whether or not your goals are important enough to you to warrant placing yourself in positions of discomfort, which can sometimes involve going to the gym when you don't feel like going, or pushing through one of your working sets to hit a new PB. Like, it's all relative and it can present itself in different ways, like difficulty or challenge, but you need to be able to push through that difficulty and challenge and that resistance to be able to get to the other side and reach your goals. Not to sound all, I don't know, Mahatma Gandhi or motivational on you or anything like that. It's really important. Important that you just identify how important it is that your goals are to you. And then make sure that your actions align with that. But yeah, one more set of these, and then on to overhead extensions. Alright, time for the overhead extensions now. Quick switching of the attachments so I'd actually find the attachment that I need. Oh wait, it's right there. How convenient. Usually I have to go hunting and scavenging around the gym to find it. But it's conveniently right next to me, so I'm going to grab that, be right back. But I suppose you can still hear me anyway. I've got the mic attached to me. I'll just keep talking. So yeah, 3 of these. Alright, a little bit heavier. I'll have to double check my training from last week in a minute, but pretty sure that was. I don't know if anybody else can relate. Like, I love the fact that baggy shirts aren't tight, but for some reason the sleeves always catch on my arms, and then it kind of like pulls my shirt up. It's really frustrating. I swear the stereotypical shape for men is not very masculine anymore. They make the sleeves very fucking tight and the torso very baggy. They're kind of suggesting that everyone's just fat, skinny fucks these days, I guess. Oh gosh. It's definitely a good move dropping the weight back on that. I only got 12 reps. I think last week I got, it's 13 for plate number 8. And I dropped it back from 9 to plate number 8 for that last set and only got 12. Did go heavier on the first 2 sets though, so that'll be a reason why. But time for kickbacks now. Okay, I'm gonna try bump the weight up a little bit on this. Did plate number 3 last week for all my sets, so I'll try 4 this week. It's not that like the weight that I was using before wasn't heavy enough per se, it's just for the rep range that I have. I found that I was really having to try dial my execution in picture perfect to ensure that I got anywhere close enough to failure in the rep range. So escalating the weight a little bit, bumping the weight up, just going to allow me to approach that proximity from failure a little bit easier with less effort in terms of trying to like perfect my technique, because I think having good execution, good technique is important to an extent. When you've been lifting as long as I have, or for yourself, if you've been lifting as long as I have, say several plus years, there comes to a point where your execution is good enough that if you focus too much on the execution, it can actually hold you back from actually training hard enough. And when you're a perfectionist like I am, you really need to consciously remind yourself technique's important, but it's not the be-all end-all. Overhead extension I did 12 with that final set. Okay, so plate number 4 for this. And last week I did plate number 3 for sets of 15, so yeah, maxed out the rep range like I thought. So yeah, same weight. I'm not going to drop it back down. I'll keep it at plate number 4. But what I do want to try to do is, I'm going to move my bag out of the way so I actually do it. Set my feet further forward, closer to the actual origin, like point of origin of tension. And then lean back more so I can actually get more shoulder extension. So that way when I lock out, I'm shortening the tricep a little bit more, because I wasn't really leaning back quite much on that first set, and I think it was making the exercise unintentionally a little bit easier and less favorable of targeting the triceps. So give this a better shot now. Definitely harder. Okay, last set. Then on to biceps after this. So when you're doing a cable exercise like this, you always want to make sure that the line of your shoulder joint and just the line of your humerus pretty much is in line with the position of the actual cable. You don't, like if the cable's here, you don't want your shoulder to be out here or here. You want to try to keep it in as is in alignment as possible with the actual cable. I think I did this the wrong way around, wrong order, but oh well. The seat's actually a little bit too low for once. Usually it's too high. Just right, perfect. Always double check the machine settings, guys, before you use the machine. Don't just assume it's set to the usual height that you use it at, because everybody is built differently. We are all different shapes and sizes, and depending on how your shape and size measures up to the last person who used the machine, well, you might have to adjust the machine. Isn't that fucking crazy? All right, warm-up set. All right, that's enough. That's enough warming up. Was it? I believe I did 65 last time. I'll double check. Pretty sure I bumped it up to 65 because 60 was too light. But it's always important to double check these things. Yeah. So I was maxing out the rep range with 60. So I was going to put it up to 65 this week. So yeah, again, 12 to 15 reps for this. 3 working sets. 5 kilo up from the previous week, but I was doing 15s with 60 kilos, so 65 I should hypothetically be able to do at least 12. Potentially even 13. Yeah, 3 of these, then Beijing curls next, and finish off with some hammer curls. Assuming I don't do forearm work, because it's already 20 past 10. Gym closes at 11, but ideally I'd like to get out a little bit before then, because it's either a 10-15 minute walk home or a 5-minute drive back home, getting like a grab back home, which is basically an Uber here in Thailand. So yeah, I mean, if I finish a little bit earlier than 11, hypothetically I can get home at 11, have a shower. My fiance needs to change my my bandage on my leg for me after I have a shower, so I've got to factor that in. I don't want to keep her up too late. And see how I do that, and then it'll be time to edit yesterday's session and then get to bed as soon as I can. So it's probably going to be a midnight bedtime for me, unfortunately, but I want to stay consistent. I'm biting off potentially more than I can chew at the minute between all the things that I'm doing, but I see a purpose to it. I see a level of importance to it that's greater than my own wants or desires, so I've just got to keep at it. All right, first working set. So the second set now. 12 in the first one. I reckon I've got 12 in me again. But third set I probably only get 11, but we'll see. I want to get 12 because obviously 12 is the minimum number of reps required. Wait, no, I think I got 13 on that last set. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll definitely get 13 on this one, and then maybe 12 on the third set. Now, I know you probably would have said to yourself, hey, you should have gone for a 14th rep. I disagree. The final rep there, I struggled to lock it out fully. Even though the concentric speed wasn't too bad, I hit that real bad sticking point right before the top. Hey, bro. Hit that sticking point right before the top and really struggled to lock it out. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely didn't have an extra rep in the tank, unless if I wanted to really throw my technique out the door, which I don't want to do. I'll let it slide and slip up a little bit, but that's the extent to what I'll allow for in the way of technique degradation. Final set. I think it's the final set. Or have I done 3 already? No, yeah, it is the final set. I lost my train of thought there for a minute. So yeah, try to smash out another set of 13 if I can. And then on the Beijing curls to really hit the bicep under a stretch or hit the bicep in a full stretch, I should say, not under a stretch. Wake the fuck up, Nick, you spastic. Nothing really exciting or interesting here, just same weight as last week. 3 working sets, working in the lower end of the rep range, so aiming for 10 reps per set. And yeah, well, like aiming for the 10 rep end of the rep range, not 10 reps specifically. So if I can do 12, I'm not going to stop at 10. You get what I mean? All right. There's those weird noises in this gym, people moaning or grunting unnecessarily. Like, I think it was my leg session, the last leg session I uploaded, there was a dude literally grunting from the first repetition of every set. Like, I'm all for making a bit of noise if you're training hard, but fuck's sake, really? After the first rep? Like, he was literally just trying to make a spectacle of himself, I swear. Some people are just that attention seeking. I don't understand it. It might sound like the pot calling the kettle black because I'm recording myself, but I'm not doing this necessarily for my satisfaction. I'm just doing this to document my training and I suppose hopefully provide a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of information. Yeah, an insight in how I train.
Some people just be tired I need to feel it.
Yeah, 100%. Fucking joke,
I'll see
yeah.
you back there, bro.
See you back there, bro. Right, 2 working sets left. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to bump the weight up for the 3rd set because I got 14 on that. And I think I probably could have gotten a 15th. And yeah, so why not 70 for the 3rd and final set. If I do alright on this, I'll start with 70 next week. Now, for some reasons, I'm a real big fan of how they've rearranged the gym equipment. And then other reasons, I'm not so satisfied with how they've rearranged the gym equipment. Just depends on which piece of equipment I'm using as to whether I'm happy with the change or not, because it's improved the, I suppose, ability to use some of the equipment, and then it's also negatively impacted the ability to use some equipment depending on where they've relocated it. But this one in particular, I'm happy with where they've relocated it. So, I believe I got up to working weight 45 kilo last week, so I'm just gonna guess and check my training from last week afterwards, because that's what a that's what an irresponsible lifter would do, and I'm a reckless, irresponsible lifter, right? I think I might have gotten 11 last week with that weight, but I didn't hit as many PBs and go up in weight on as many exercises as I did in this session, in that session last week. So it's probably why I'm just carrying a little bit more fatigue in this session, as to why I potentially got one less rep than I did last week on this. We'll check the logbook, the digital logbook on my phone in my high-tech Apple Notes. So, what was it? One sec, I just logged that last set of Beijing curls I did before. So, oh no, actually I only used 36 kilo last week, so I hit a PB. 45 for 10 is a PB, considering I only hit 36 for 13 last week. So 2 more sets of these. I'll keep it at the same weight, seeing as I've already started the working sets at 45. 2 more sets of this, and then it is home time. I'll have to leave forums for another day because I won't have time for it. Gym's going to close in 8 minutes. Let's punch out that second set now. One to go. Final set. Okay, all done. Home time. See you guys in the next video if you stick around. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. I know it's not easy. Not easy looking at this ugly mug.